Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Live from Los Angeles, we come together each morning to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. So I want to talk to you today about fear, releasing fear, and how to do it. So before we begin, just inviting you guys in to check out Soulciety. We have officially launched this year what the vision is to be the #1 spiritual leaders community in the world. And it's been an epic beginning to this entire journey. We have lots and lots of leaders and ambassadors all around New York, Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, Oregon, Germany. So let's begin this day. No matter where you are in the world, I know this, that there is one mind and one heart and one life, and that there is no distance between us, that no matter where you are in my heart today. So let's talk about fear. So years back, I actually watched a documentary. I'm obsessed with documentaries, if you don't know that. I stopped watching television in 2008, but if I'm going to watch something, I'll watch a documentary. On a rare occasion, I'll go to a movie, but usually I'm disappointed, I'm not going to lie. So one day I watched this documentary and it was called The Edge of Never. I was totally struck and inspired by this documentary. It's centered around this famous skier, this extreme skier, Trevor Peterson. So in 1996, Trevor took, he basically died. He was skiing this extreme like place in France, and an avalanche happened and it took his life. Meanwhile, he had a 6-year-old son, and 9 years later, when Kai, I believe was his son's name, he was 15 years old, and he had as well became an extreme skier. I think he grew up in that culture, and the his tribe, his father's tribe kind of took him in, and he began to become an extreme skier himself. So years later, 15 years later actually, Kai decided to go down the exact same mountain that his father died. I get chills just talking about it. I just can't imagine being on top of that mountain and thinking about the triumph and doing it for the love of your dad, knowing that his life was taken, but he was doing what he loved to do. So how can you ever be sad at that, So Kai skied down the mountain, and with victory, he, was basically embraced by the whole community of the triumph that he was living out, the legacy for his father. And so the point is that we all have fear, right? Like, it's part of the human condition. But fear, we have to know that, there's some things that to be feared, like, if you're in a fire, or if you're being, chased by an animal or something like that. But the reality is that fear is really in our mind. And of course, there's some good fear. Maybe you should be afraid of going down a mountain where there can be an avalanche. But the point is that fear can be overcome, and that each and every one of us has fear. And it's up to us to really go past that, what we call the wall of fire. I watch it over and over again with my girls in leadership. And lots of people want to fulfill upon their dreams. Majority of people will never even take the action at all. They'll live a trivial life, if you will. And they're going to have a lot of regret on their deathbed. Other people try and begin to fulfill upon their dreams, and they get really afraid, because what happens is you're going past your current identity. If you want to reach new heights and new epic places within your own mind and heart and body and soul and into this realm, you've got to let go of your current belief system. You've got to let go of your current identity of staying small and staying divided and staying all that stuff. And so as I watched this documentary, not only did it really touch my heart and just, beg the question, what is that? What is that mountain for you to climb? What is that exactly? Maybe it's opening your heart again to love. Maybe it's taking a quantum leap and having and buying your team and spending money on people's, salaries. Sometimes that can be really scary as an entrepreneur. What is your leap of faith? What is that horse you need to get back on? And even though you fell off, and keep riding into a place you've never gone before. And so today, as I'm sitting here and just being so grateful for facing a lot of my fears. Well, I still have fears. We all have fears. We all have the unknown. But this is faith, right? So if you understand universal law, you understand that every emotion that we have informs our subconscious and informs universal law. So if we energize fear, then we're basically informing more of the negative to come in. There's two types of fear, if you think about it. There's fear of loss of what you have, and there's fear of the unknown. And you got to ask yourself, what are you attaching on? Because the universe, first off, you're afraid of losing something, that means you have major attachment to it. And I hate to break the news, but the universe is going to give you some hard lessons to release, whether it may be at the end of your life and you got to let go of everything and everyone and yourself and your body and your identity, or whether you do this work while you're alive and you start to enjoy yourself more and more during your lifetime, this lifetime particularly. So going into these shifts are really the shifts. If you're going into fear of the unknown, you've got to realize and know that you're informing universal law. You're informing universal law to put more and more brakes on you, because that's what you are informing it. It's just, life's just a mirror and a reflection. So if you're informing it with fear, it's got to bring more fear into your life. It's got to magnify that fear. And so this is the dance. This is the divine, daily spiritual practice, to practice over and over again to release this. There's a concept called emptying the cup, because we have all this fear. And so how do you get rid of the fear, And the reason why we call it emptying the cup is really because there's this famous story of this kind of philosophical, socialite, scholastic guy. And he goes to this Zen master and he says, please, please, please teach me, Zen master. Please teach me. I want to learn all about Buddhism. And the scholar, is invited to work with this Zen master. And when he goes to him, he is just full of all this stuff, this scholar. He begins to rattle off everything he's ever learned about Buddhism and all these concepts and da-da-da-da. And the Zen master in this famous story is kind of very chill and very Zen, if you will. And he's listening to this scholar, and he's listening to the scholar, and he's listening to the scholar. And then he invites the scholar to have a cup of tea, and the scholar is still blabbing on about everything he knows and all the courses and everything he's read and all the concepts and da-da-da. And the Zen master that is making this tea, and the water starts to boil, and he puts 2 cups out, and the scholar is sitting at the table with the 2 empty cups of tea, and the scholar and the Zen master takes the hot water and he starts pouring it into his cup, into the scholar's cup. And it is full, and then he keeps pouring it, and the hot water is going over the cup onto the table and onto the floor now. And the scholar all of a sudden is like, well, wait, what are you doing? It's full and it's spilling. What are you doing? And he's yelling, he's getting up because it's like about to go on his lap. And the Zen master says, you're like this cup. You are so full of all of your knowledge and all your, thinking. There's no room. There's no room for anything more. You have to let go and empty your cup in order to allow yourself to learn something. And so in this, knowing that as we release fear, we have to release our concepts as well. You have to release what you think you know in this life in order to allow and trust the universe. You got to trust. There's an intelligence here. There's an intelligence. And so on today, the law of the day is the law of correspondence. This is the ascending order of the creative process, the spiritual realm to the mental realm to the physical realm. Your beliefs set this law into motion, creating the feelings, emotions, and circumstances of your life. Your ability to manifest and demonstrate is in direct correlation to your ability to provide a mental equivalent within your mind and soul. This means if you want to go beyond fear, you've got to see and imagine yourself. Kai, I'm sure he saw and imagined himself going down that mountain over and over and over before he actually did it. If he just sat in fear the whole time before he got on top of that mountain and thought about his dad and thought about him dying and thought about, what could happen to him, it may have not gone so well. For every belief, there is an indistinguishable comparable in the physical realm. The outer world is the reflection of the inner world, as within, so without. So today's challenge is to empty your cup. What do you need to let go of? To let go of your beliefs, your viewpoints, your considerations that no longer serve you. That's the challenge. Ask yourself, what beliefs have you filled your cup with that are not allowing for new possibility to come into your life? What limiting beliefs are you ready to let go of? What are your greatest fears? Public speaking is a big one. Being judged, fear of failure, failure of rejection, or fear of success. That's a really common one, actually. So which of these two do you fear the most? Do you fear losing what you value or fear not getting what you want? I would write this down. Get a pen and paper out. Journal on this stuff. What do you fear most? The fear of loss or the fear of not getting what you want? And then you've got to have a daily spiritual practice, which is literally living in faith. Living in faith. This is the question to ponder today. What is the one thing that if you did it, you would know you could do anything in this lifetime? Do it now. Mine was to write a book, and it was one of the hardest things I did, and I did it. So what is the one thing that if you did it, you would know you could do anything in this lifetime? And face that fear. Face that. Because if you can do that, you can do anything. So on that note, have a wonderful, wonderful divine day. May you live your truth. Thanks again for tuning in to Dr. Erin and Soul Society podcast. I'd like to invite you to write a review on iTunes. Also, I have a free gift for you, a money meditation and worksheet, which you can find at soulciety.com. That's www.soulciete.com. Or 30 guided meditations at drerin.tv. That's www.drerin.tv. We also hold monthly Soul Society events that are all about transformation and building extraordinary community. You can also watch me live daily on goodmorninglalaland.com or Instagram at drerin.tv. Grab your free manifestation masterclass with the purchase of my international best-selling book, Awakening, a 40-day guide to unleashing your spiritual powers, life purpose, and manifesting your dreams at erinfallhaskell.com/awakening book.